Hello, and thank you for stopping by. This is Janie's Journals, and I am Janie. Today I wanted to show you, I've been messing around with making these luggage tags. And I'll show you the ones that I made. They were really simple. And there's this little guy. There he is. And the first thing, that I did was chose my focal points. Because I needed to make the tag to match, the size of the focal image. And one source that I used is the Sticker Studio book by Arcana. And it has just chock full of all kinds of images that are really neat looking. And I was considering using, actually, this lady right here. I like her. And then I also kind of like these two here. They're just a little out there, I guess, you could say. And so I'm thinking, you know what, I'm just going to use this guy. He's right here in the corner. He's easy enough for me to get out of there. And these are stickers. I'm only cutting him out so that I don't have to worry about sticking him down just yet. So this is the size I'm going to use for the bigger tag. And then for the smaller one, I did find, where'd it go? Here it is. This Tim Holtz. These are the mini silhouettes. I love this little guy too. And I'm using also the Tim Holtz stamps from Stampers Anonymous. That's this one that I'm using today. So, that's the plan anyway. I'm going to have him sitting on top of that. So this tag will be a little bit bigger than my example, but that's okay. I don't want them all the same. So the first thing I did, I'll leave one of these down here to kind of refer to. The first thing I did was chose a background. And there are a lot of different backgrounds that you can use. There is, this is a Tim Holtz packaging. And I think that would make a really interesting background. This is also packaging from pinkpaisley.com. This is an older one, but I really like the way that it looks as well. Or you can do like I did and make your own background. Now this is, you've probably seen this in a couple of videos, if you've seen any of my videos. This is just paper like the one that I have down here on my table. And after I get finished with this project that I'm working on, I will just glue down any odds and ends pieces of paper that I have. I will throw down a little ink at times, stamp over it. Whatever I'm working on is going to be worked on this paper. So it leaves me with this kind of a collage background. So I could cut that up and use that. Or this is something that I just did the other day. And these turn out neat. Oh, this is another example. This is a piece of scrapbook paper. Had a pretty interesting, like an atlas type of design on it. The backside's pretty too. You can use whatever you want for your background. Today, I am going to use these backgrounds that I made. That's what I used in this one and in this one. And I'll do a video on these eventually. But it's just, a matter of stamping on your paper and splattering ink on it and just doing whatever you feel like at the time. So I have all of these that I can choose from to make a background for him. And I'm thinking this one would actually fit him. That's the right size. Or do I want something with a little more black in it? There, I like that better. I think this will be my background for this one. And then for the little boy, it doesn't really matter as long as it's the right size. Maybe I'll do one of these blue ones. Oh, you know what? That won't be tall enough because I'm going to have him sitting on the stamp. So, nope, that one won't work. Need something taller. And I just used a variety of background stamps to do this. Maybe I'll just use this one. That'll work. I know it's going to be tall enough. Okay. So I've got my background chosen. Get these out of the way. And now, I will go ahead and put my stickers on the background. So I want to make sure that my background pieces are straight because they were just scraps of paper. So I don't want to be making this and find out it's crooked. That looks pretty straight. Let's see. Yep, I think that's going to be okay. And then this one, let's take a look at it. Yep, it also is straight. Okay. So I'm going to need that in a minute. Let's go ahead and start with this guy, and I'm going to pull him off of the backing paper, and I always use glue on these, just simply because they're stickers, and over time I'm afraid that the stickiness of them will wear off. So I'm going to put a little bit, of glue on there, and just put him down kind of centrally located on my little tag. Okay. And my little guy, I am going to have to stamp on a piece of scrap cardstock. I'm going to stamp that ticket and then put it on here like I did on this one. So let's go ahead and do that. I've got scrap cardstock all over the place here. Is that going to be big enough? It might work. We'll try it. I didn't get my ink out, sorry. I know you should probably use a stamp block, but I'm too lazy to get it out. And that worked just fine. So now we're going to cut this out. Alrighty. So he's going to sit there. And let's go ahead and put him down. Let's see, I think I want to leave a little room for some kind of a sentiment. And I also have to keep in mind that there is going to be a frame around the whole thing, so I want to leave enough room for that frame as well. Stick him on there. Make sure his bottom is actually sitting there. I'm sorry, I know I sound kind of nasally today. I've had a cold. My pharmacist at work came in last week with it, and it was kind of mean to share it with me. Not really, just kind of annoying, but okay. Now we're going to trim off our edges, what we don't need. Again, keeping in mind there's going to be a frame around the whole thing, so I don't want it to be too small. I think that'll work. That's kind of an odd size, I guess, for a luggage tag, but... And this one I think is going to be okay the way it is. Okay. Now to cut my frame, the cardstock that I'm using, it's just a craft cardstock. It's a really thick one though. So, and here is where, for me, it gets a little bit tricky. I'm going to go ahead and cut it the size that I want it here, and it's going to be basically the same size as my tag. And I'm going to cut two that same size. Get that a little bit straight. So I'm just going to fold this over and line it up as best I can. Well, this stuff is thick. You know what, maybe I'll just, if it doesn't line up perfect, it'll be okay, because I can trim it. Oops, I just tore my background paper. That's alright. Okay, I think that's straight enough. Cut just there. Whoops, sorry about that. Okay, so I've got two. This one will go on the base. And then this is going to be the frame. So now the next thing that I'm going to do is cut out the frame. This is where, for me, it gets a little tricky because I'm not the best with my craft knife. You know, I may just do it with this. And then I can measure it out. And then just maybe trim the corners. So I'm just sticking it on here, and at my 1/4 inch mark is where I'm going to cut into it. And I'm not cutting all the way through. I'll cut that out with a craft knife. But this way, at least, I will have the same size all the way around. And I know that you can use these and you can cut it exact and everything, but I'm just not that good. And I'm not that brave. Okay. Now, find my craft knife. There it is. I'm just going to cut this on down till it meets up with that one. And there. See, this one I almost cut a little bit too far. And they don't have to be exact for me, I'm okay. Okay, there's my frame, my base, and here's this. That's how it's going to go on there. I forgot to do this. What I should have done was taken some of this blue backing off of this sticker. But I'll go ahead and just kind of ink it a little bit to dull it up some. There we go. So, we have that. Now let's work on our little man. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to trim this off a little more even, so that whenever I mark it, I know I'll get the same cuts on top and bottom. But that looked a little weird, what that do. Yeah, that kind of cut janky there. Probably because it's so thick and it moves. There, that's better cut. I'm going to trim the top half of it. Maybe better off to do it pulling it towards me instead of pushing from me. And I'll do the same thing. Mark the edges. I like this cutter. It's got, I don't know if you can see it, it's got a little wire in it that you can line up exactly where you want to cut at. Okay. There's that. Oh, I put that away. I'm not done with it yet. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. Let's see, could he could maybe stand a little wider of an edge. I'll go just a little bit wider. Because when I go to stitch this on the machine, it makes it a little bit difficult to catch right in the middle when it's such a small piece. Is it the same? What have I done here? Okay. Okay, so I have that. It feels a little crowded in there, but I think that'll be okay. Now, on the plastic that I used, there was several possibilities, and some of them I didn't like as well as others. So we have, this is the cellophane that you get like with packaging material, and to me, it's too crinkly for a luggage tag. I actually looked at my luggage, and my luggage tags are a thicker, clear plastic. So I chose not to use the cellophane. And then I have this packaging, but it kind of has a milky look to it. So I chose not to do that one, and I ended up taking a zip. And what I chose to use was just a Ziploc baggie. I just used a gallon baggie, and I cut it down, or cut it open. So I think that turned out good. That's what I'm going to do with these as well. So I'm just going to cut down a piece of it to the size that I need. And then, one thing I haven't done that I'll go ahead and just do off camera, I'll ink the edges of the frame. And then I'm going to sew these together on both of them, and then I will be right back. And there they are, all trimmed up. So I trimmed up my threads too. I don't like the threads hanging out, but if you do, you can leave them that way. And now for the topper, I'll just repeat this one and then put a corner, eyelet on this one. So what I did for this is I used just a piece of leftover cardstock, and I folded it to the size that I needed it to be. And this stuff is so thick that you actually need a bone folder to make it go down well. Okay, this one is a little bit wider than my first one, but yeah, I might cut it down just a little. Might want to cut it straight too. That's always helpful. This cold is about to kick my hiney. Okay, so inking the edges of it, that's a personal preference. If you don't like the ink stuff, then don't ink it. And these would be kind of neat looking as well if you would use a, colorful scrapbook paper to make these out of. Okay, so the way I did this one, I did not want the legs on my brads to show through the back side. So I will show you how I did that, which is probably not anything new. I'm using these mini brads. They're really small. I'll get 2 of those. And then I'm also going to need 2 eyelets. And I don't particularly care what color this eyelet is, but I want this one to match these. So there it is. Okay. And I marked on here, first of all, where I wanted my brads to be sitting so that they were fairly close to being even. So what I like to do with the little legs is I have this, it's a book binding tape, and I'll cut a little piece of this off and put it across there just so that they don't swing around and the little legs don't stick out from underneath the tab. Trim that off. And then I choose where I'm going to put the eyelet at, and again I make a mark. Punch a hole. Actually, I'm going to use a little bit bigger hole punch for that one, so that the eyelet will fit in there. So there's that. And then this is the eyelet I'm going to use. So, oh gosh, those things are so tiny. I'm going to put it in there, and then I'm going to use this contraption to set it. And then that leaves the back where the legs are not sticking out. But what I'll use to attach it, I use this Tombo's glue. And I'll just put some of the glue, whoops, that was quite a bit, on each side of it. And then, whoa, I'll just put it on here. Like that. And I'll use a little clip here to hold it down until that glue sticks. Okay. And then the smaller one, I'm going to use the same medium-sized hole punch. And I'm going to punch it so that I don't punch into the stitches, because I don't want the stitches to come undone. So I will punch a hole and put this in there. And again, set it like that. And then choose, I've got a few pieces of scrap fabric here that I can choose from. I actually like this one, but I don't know. It doesn't rip very well. So I'm just going to cut it down the middle. Fray this side a little bit too. I don't want strings hanging like this is. I don't want that. But I want it to look a little bit roughed up. And then I think I'm going to need my pokey tool to feed it through there. And for this one, I think I'm just going to bring it here and then use that Tim Holtz tiny stapler, tiny attacher, and just put a staple in it to hold it in place. And there's that. So, pretty simple, but fun. And I'm thinking if you wanted to mass make these, if it were me mass making them, I think I would cut out the bases and the frames and then just stitch around the frames and glue everything together. It does take some time to get that to your machine and hold it, all three pieces together. But I think they've turned out cute. And I thank you for watching, and I hope you'll decide to come back. Have a great day.